Hey, what's up, everybody? Heaven here. I'm currently in the studio right now. I'm recording a couple of songs. I I have been in the studio recording and editing and mixing and mastering for some time. And I thought to myself yesterday, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to take a break." And then as soon as I sat down, I was like, "Oh, you know what I could do?" Anyway, and so last night, I woke up in the middle of the night and I played this instrumental that I had made, and I heard this song, and I recorded a little like melody, and then I just woke up and just rewrote everything and blah blah blah. Anyway, so I'm here now recording it, but a thing that's been on my mind is creating, and I mean that in like such a broad sense. Like we're put in so many things are put in our face to consume. You look at social media, and a lot of it is consumption. You're looking, you're taking in, all the videos, photos, and they're sort of like creating an idea in your head. It's like social media is creating for you. Whereas it's so much more fun to create for yourself. And I mean, even just like your whole life. Like, I used to get caught up on things about life that I wasn't very fond of, but then I realized I can change it. I can change my life. I can design my own life. And when I'm looking at things through that lens, it feels different. There's that saying, I don't remember who said it first, but nothing is, everything is becoming. Like nothing is just this way. And we're constantly given different narratives that say the world's like this, the world's like this, the world's like this. But that's only if you keep thinking that. If everybody keeps thinking that, then that's what it is. But if everyone changes, then it's something completely different. And the real change always starts with yourself. That's another big quote that's been on my mind recently. There's no one to change but self. Nothing to change but self. When I was younger, it was so easy for me to look out into the world and be like, that's wrong. This is wrong. What's going on? You're wrong. You're. But I realized, I can't change anyone. The only thing that's going to change, that I can definitely for sure change, is me. And if in that process of me changing me, other people decide to change themselves, that's great. But it's not my business. And there's always kind of like a song. When I decide to live a certain way, when I go in a direction, I come up with a creative direction, life harmonizes with you, you know? Complementary people, situations, they appear. And I'm remembering that more and more. Um, yeah. And I don't know. I just wanted to share that with you all. Also, and I think just because I'm having a lot of fun in the studio, I've realized, everything is a lot of fun. I was reading this article. It was on Sinners. I'm talking about Sinners so much recently, but pretty much it was talking about how, it was talking about Ryan Coogler when he did his first film, Fruitvale Station, and how it was such not an obstacle, it was such an endeavor to finish that film, but then the work wasn't done, right? But you finish the film, and then there's a whole endeavor of marketing the film, getting people to actually see the film, which is a whole nother thing. And for me, depending on which thing I'm doing, it's like that too. You go through this process of being like, of making this music, of first deciding. You decide, I don't care if the market is oversaturated. I don't care if, everyone's talking about algorithms and everyone talks about the problems. They say, there's this, the music industry, right? But then so you get past all that and you go, you know what? I feel called to do this. Something inside me says do this, so I'm going to do it. Whatever. Then you go about the actual process of doing it. You're writing, you're mixing, you're mastering. You're sort of going, you come through these little processes where you're like, I don't know, what do I do here? You solve all these things and you, right? And then you finish and then you have this song or these songs or this album or whatever. And then your work's not done. Then you're like, okay, I did it. Now, how am I going to perform these songs? how am I going to market these songs? How am I going to do this? What's the plan? And it's just this constant thing. But the truth is, it's really fun. And I remember there was this quote from Beyonce when she did the Q&A. She doesn't really do interviews anymore. She does like Q&As for magazines where I imagine they send her questions and she sends them answers. And and she was saying that something to the effect, I'm summarizing, that she realizes she's her happiest when she's creating. And I realized something similar, you know, that, and also whenever I find myself upset about something that's going on or something that's happening outside of me, I realize I'm not actually focusing on me. Like, I'm not being me. I'm focused on everything else, you know? And when I'm really happy, I'm doing me. In the midst of whatever is going on, I go, I'm going to do me. I'm focusing on all the things that I like. I'm like tuning kind of everything else out. It's got nothing to do with me, you know? And I'm remembering that more and more and more these days, for a bunch of different reasons. But I think that really keeps me going and that inspires me is that there's just so much possibility. Everyone talks about all these things like AI and this and that and whatever, who cares? But the truth is, it's all about your process. Like when you pass through to the next state of existence, I think what you're taking with you is, or what I feel like is going to matter is kind of what you did for yourself. Not necessarily like accomplished, like, like in the traditional sense of like success, but like every time I create something that's exciting for me, it's like, wow, like I have this idea and then I hear it, it feels so different for me even. And then I feel like I've expanded. I feel like I'm like, oh, I'm all this stuff too. Even right now, I'm making some songs right now that are like a little, they're not completely different from me, but they're a little bit different. And so it feels like, whoa, like, you know what I mean? And that's so much fun. That's fun. That's really, really fun. I could try to be cool. I could try and be liked, whatever. But what's really fun for me is just expanding in that way. And I get so excited. Like, and I just love art. I just love mixing all the possibilities. When you have, when you have a medium, something that you're doing, like making music, making films, or whatever, and you have all of this experience in all these other areas, right? And they come in and they color the thing that you do, the main thing that you do, is so exciting. Like, I feel like a lot of the more interesting artists and pieces that we see are from people who are kind of like, who are much more nuanced, you know? And anyway, that's just what's on my mind. And I'm just really excited to be creating. And I'm really grateful that I've spent all these years cultivating these talents. And I mean, I still am, but I'm very grateful. And I hope that you're using yours and creating your world. Like, show us your world. Let's not just keep regurgitating the same thing over and over and over and over again. We can do whatever we want to do. And I want to see what you do. I want to see whatever it is. Show me. Show me your world. Anyway, that's all for now.